We're back once again, only
Got it.
on It's After Hours, only on Full Swap Radio. And once again, Omari the Rebel has joined me here as my co-host. We gotta get her on the show. We have to get this woman on the show. She's a legend. We need to get more legends on the show. So we're very excited to have the one. There's only one and the only. I give you Africa Sexxx. So Africa, it's been a career.
Yay.
You've been doing score layouts. You've been doing DVDs back when they were still a hot thing. Now you're back and doing the
hmm
websites, you're doing the OnlyFans. You keep, leaving it and getting up everybody all hot and bothered. Why come back? Why come back this time when it seems you were out? You were finally out. Okay, I'm retired. I'm gonna live a life, and now you're back. Why? What made you decide to come back after these years?
Well, I didn't actually retire, but I did stop doing everything. So to me, it wasn't like coming back from retirement. It was just like getting back to work. um, I think I was tired of because I just had a regular 9 to 5 and I was getting
Hmm.
tired of it. I was getting tired of it.
I know what
I
that's
was getting
like.
tired of it. Yeah.
Fuck yeah,
And
yo,
that's it.
for a job. You know what I'm saying? Do you have that asshole at your job? Like, you know, when you get that little ass break, the half hour, what the fuck is that? You know that asshole that wants to talk to you during your lunch break? Did you have one of those assholes at your job?
No.
If you're
But I
watching
know
this,
what
you
you're
gotta
talking
talk
about.
to somebody on a lunch break. Everybody who's that type of supervisor, yo, look, fuck your life, man. Leave us alone. But go ahead, Miss Africa Sex.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I don't have that one.
Mhm.
I didn't have that one at any of the jobs.
So, Miss Africa
So
Sex, since we actually, that is a great segue. What I want to ask you is this, though. Coming from the adult industry, venturing back into the 9 to 5 world, the time where you took your time off from the tenure, did anybody recognize you, or was it an adjustment from that type of line of work to going to the 9 to 5 grind? What was that like?
I was nervous because I was nervous that I would be recognized, and I was. But the managers were pretty cool, and they were like, "Look, pulling me to the side, like, I saw something, and I just want you to know." Everything, your
Hmm.
job's okay, like everything's okay. Because but I'm like, that was like over 10 years ago. Like that was over 10 years ago. This is a long
Yeah, we
time.
need to stop. Yeah, we got to stop being so uptight. We all love sex. We all like to masturbate.
I think so. I think so.
Speaking of
So
transition,
yeah.
I was going to say you were one of the key, like queens of DVDs because you were on box covers and everybody wanted to shoot you because you were always the big bust super starlet. Now it's OnlyFans. Now you have to hustle. So how much when you came back was just like, all right, wait a minute, no DVDs. I got to do everything here. I got to keep producing content. Like how much of it was like a huge like culture shock where it's like, okay, I shoot a couple of DVDs. I'm all set now. It's like, oh crap, I got to do this every single
Every
friggin'
week.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I That was a shock. And also communicating with people. Now it feels more personal because now you have Skypes and so
Hmm.
usually I don't really interviews are fine, but then when you make people feel bad because you're not speaking to them or something, so you have to be more personable and you have to speak to everybody. That was kind of a shock. And
When
having
you have a
to advertise. Uh-huh.
no, I was just saying when you have a big platform like somebody like you, how can you really you yourself, like somebody at your stature, like how can you actually make time for everybody who appreciates you at your level? Like
I
how do you
can't. I
respond to as many messages that
Right now it's just me, and I can't respond to everything.
Mhm.
But sometimes I'll come out and I'll say, like, I try to respond to everybody, but I really can't. And I think the hardest thing is like when I'm asked to do something that I can't do. It's like I don't want to reject you, but it's like a lot of people who grew up on me apparently,
Yeah.
and they want to have some type of relationship, and I'm like, I don't know you, and that's not what I'm here for, and I don't want to reject you, but I have to.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go
There you
and
go.
myself, you know what I'm saying? I'm part of the reason why we're in this little background right now. For everybody who's watching After Hours, we are bringing you this episode. Me, Omari the Rebel. I'm in a sex club right now. That is the new Society for Wellness behind me. This is in Manhattan and such. And part of the places where I do film are in beautiful establishments like this. You know what I'm saying? Because hotels get kind of boring. Which brings me to the next thing that I want to ask you about. Before you entered the 9 to 5 period to now, which is common, that is streaming platforms and websites. What do you say is the biggest adjustment when it comes to performing as an adult entertainer now to before you went in and took a break?
Well, before I was in this business, I was in anything customer service. So anything customer service, that's easy for me to fall into. It's very easy for me to fall into. If I have to deal with the customers, I don't know why, I just want to make everybody smile, even if I'm giving you some bad news, like, hey, I'm just doing my job, but that's not going to happen here in this place. I just like to make everybody smile. I don't know why. So that's easy for me. I just go towards anything that is customer service or anything that is helping people.
Hmm. Speaking of helping people, what about helping yourself and your pleasure and your orgasms? What brings you pleasure? Do you have a specific set of fetishes or things that really turn you on? Because I can tell you, I got a whole bunch of weird shit. But you go first.
Oh, well, now I want to know your story, Quinn.
You want to know my weird
No,
shit? Come on, nah.
Well, let me
Oh,
jump
go
in
yeah.
here
ahead.
quick because there's something I've been dying
Go
to
ahead.
ask you here. You came back and you're BBW now. You're still beautiful. You're one of the most
Yes.
beautiful women in this business, but you're a bit
Oh, thank
thicker.
you.
And was
Yes.
that weird coming back? Is that or was there ever that mentality of like I don't know if I want to come back? I have this weight and because everybody's image conscious. So for you, how tough was
Yeah.
that? For getting over like all right, I'm gonna be naked, some extra pounds, it's fine. Don't freak out. Most of us we're freaking out.
Uh, yeah, I was freaking out too. I'm getting used to it now though, but I was really freaking out, not just about weight, but about I feel like my body looks different. Like I feel like, it was like smoother, and now I have these new friends called wrinkles and stuff. And so that was pretty difficult. That's more difficult than the weight. But everybody is so accepted. That's what I've been learning. It's like
Hmm.
everybody, even if you're, yeah, it doesn't matter your wrinkles, it doesn't matter gray hair, it doesn't matter. It's like everybody is accepted. So that's
Yeah.
made
And
it
I'm
a lot
definitely,
easier.
there's a couple of companies that I want to recommend you to. They're going to hear you. Like BBW Adventures, definitely recommend you to them. They specialize in body positivity, and I met them at a boat party. And nowadays, there seems to be much more diversity as the world has moved up. But that also brings me to the other side of this.
I
When you up, all right, go ahead.
don't can you text me all of the like little companies that you recommend, because I've never heard of that, those people.
I
Okay.
absolutely, absolutely. We got to follow each other after this. What I
Okay.
would say is though, in light of that, there's also the other dynamic. The enhanced body and cosmetic surgery on women's bodies wasn't as accessible when you began versus now. Does that shape how you promote or how you look at yourself or your experience as an adult performer when you talk about whether it's your own body image or it's how people look at you and consume your content?
if if I could afford it, I honestly would have done something, but I cannot, so I just don't bother thinking about it. So I mean, it's pretty pricey for all of that stuff. So it's kind of like when I was younger, like going to the mall, everybody wanted to go to the mall, but for me it's like I cannot afford everything at the mall. So if I don't, why do I need to go to the mall? Like I just kind of throw those things. If you can't have it or at the moment, even if you can have it later, that makes it sweeter when you can have it later. But I just don't throw myself into it at all. And then as far as, but actually, since I've been working, I actually, if I had the money like right now, I wouldn't do it. because everybody's so comfortable. Everybody's
Yes,
so
yes, and to see so many people, like I have a friend of mine, get recognized specifically as a BBW entertainer. There's never been a spot or a time in history where it's a better time to be a woman with some beautiful curves. And plus, yo, we love all of your curves, Miss Africa Sex, for real. You know what I'm saying? I was reading
thank you, thank
when
you.
when I had to do some like, because what I do is we do a little bit of research on every guest that we have, and I was reading how like Miss Africa Sex started off as a stripper. And one thing that is this true? One of the managers at the club commented on your breast, which is why you wanted to venture more into filming. They were unhappy with your breast at the time.
It wasn't, that's not why I went into filming, but they weren't. They were, it was actually a club, I don't know if I can say their names, but it's okay.
Yeah,
Say it. It was a club called
yeah.
Risky Business in Sacramento a long
Mhm.
time ago. And there weren't many Nubian women. There weren't many. So I felt like at that point they weren't actually hiring Nubian women. He made a comment about the shape of my that they were long and that they weren't just up like this. So then they found some type of excuse, and it was really an excuse to fire
Mhm.
me. And I knew what it was actually about. He said it was one thing, but all the other girls were doing that very same thing. So, and they all like rallied around me and said, she didn't do this and blah, blah, blah. So I knew what it was. He didn't want to hire me in the first place because of
That's
that.
another. I
Well,
also
let's
want to
talk about.
recommend. Yeah.
I was gonna say, let's talk about two people who have hired you recently. Sensational Video with Clint Works. You've also gotten to work with a guy we're both familiar with in Mr. Mysterious. Tell us about the two differences, because Sensational Video,
That's my bro.
they are, it's a standard, scenes like Score. They do, it's cute and cuddly, but it's standard sort of like, all right, porn script. Mysterious is all over the place. He's a very creative guy. So what did you prefer, and what was it like for two guys who are very respectful but very different in the way they approach things?
Mysterious is a friend of mine from even high school, even though we didn't hang in the same circles, but we ended up working together in some of the strip clubs because he's also a DJ. So he would DJ at the
Hold on.
clubs and
What was
uh-huh.
he like in high school? I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. Like, what was he like? Like, who was
That's okay.
popular? Popular? Was he popular? Like, what was he like? Was he a nerd? Did he play ball? Like, what was Mysterious like? Because I'm gonna see him in a concert now. I can't wait to talk about
He was always in a group of, it looked like he was one of the more popular people and dancing. I remember dancing. But we didn't actually hang in the same groups. I just remembered him when
Mysterious
we got,
was the popular guy,
huh?
and Mysterious was the popular guy. So when you were in high school,
Yes,
did you get a lot of attention from boys? Like, were you really voluptuous at that time?
I was. And a lot of times I get, well, not a lot of times, but a few times I've gotten after being an adult. I liked you, but I couldn't because I wasn't one of the popular people. There was one time I was with one of the popular guys. He was into all the sports. He got into even cheerleading because I was in cheerleading. And everybody was like,
Mhm.
well, why are you with her? And he was like, they don't even know.
You
But
were a
I
cheerleader?
just wasn't one. I wasn't because I didn't really do what a lot of the other kids were doing too. Like
Right.
if you're into smoking or partying or not, I really wasn't into that. And I really couldn't do
Hmm.
much of that anyway. I was in foster care. So I couldn't really do much of what they were
Me
doing
too.
anyway. Yeah,
Me too.
there you
Yeah.
go.
All right, so get I hate to bring it back, but get back to the scenes. Like, what was like two scenes, and what was
Okay.
it like actually? Like one where it's more scripted, one where there's a lot more freedom. I'm guessing with Mysterious, like, all right, what do you think, and give me your ideas.
I'm used to the ones that are in the studio because we don't have to. Mysterious and I had to, especially Mysterious. He had to do all the changing the cameras, and you're trying to get angles, even though you have to like do each other, and then you have to stop to get the angle and everything. I'm kind of used to the studio where we don't have to. They're all following us, and we're trying to. Yeah, I'm used to that better. That is hard. That's hard. Filming yourself is hard.
The
So, but
independent creator.
Mysterious, uh-huh.
No, I was just saying the
But
independent creator.
yes. Yes. Well, Mysterious is, I'm comfortable with him because he's like, but that was really hard because he's also like my brother.
Not
So
like
that
my
was our,
brother.
yeah, that was our first time doing anything, and that was our last time. And um, yeah, it was kind of like we're siblings, and he was just like, he was ready to go.
Mhm.
But I'm like, you're kind of like my brother. I
Wow.
never really pictured that. I really love him with all of my heart, but it's really like a brother.
Chris probably has something else. I'm gonna let him come
So talk about your stuff. Like, what's your brand? Because everybody, we know the big boobs, we know the beautiful smile, but like you're competing with everybody else, including Omari, for people to buy stuff and buy your content. So, what do you do for your brand, and how tough is that? Like coming up with, all right, how am I keep it fresh? How do I keep fans wanting more? How do I do things so it's not the same old, same old?
Can't compete
That's
with me. I don't
hard.
got the six, man. Okay.
That's hard because, can you still hear me?
Yes. Loud and
I
clear.
can hear
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Yay. That's still hard, but actually a little less hard. But it was hard because I'm not really, hardcore. I'm not really hardcore. If I'm on my own,
How
and
do
it's
you
just me.
how do you describe your work, or what type of performer would you say you are? Since this is not hardcore porn that you say that you do, what kind of content or
It's
porn? And that's another thing I want
mainly
to ask. Go ahead.
mainly my boobs, and there's music, and so it's kind of like a video, like a music video, but it's not. And it's mainly, what I can do, because if I do something I'm uncomfortable with, like I'm constantly putting things inside of myself, I'm just doing that for them and not for myself. My anxiety will
Hmm.
kick up. I'll disappear again forever because I can't like emotionally give that to you all the time. So I can sometimes. So sometimes I'll do something like that. But then most of the time it's just me and my boobs and dancing and lighting and editing and you know.
Yeah,
So I
I
don't know.
actually, yeah, I feel you. Because one of my things, what I try to specialize in is making my content, my adult content, much more cinematic and such. I mean, I would love to work
Yeah.
with you in because I try to put in a lot of detail. People talk to me about it's not necessary. We just want to jerk off. But yeah, I want to make sure that it's a dope product. You know what I mean? Chris, you were getting ready to say something.
I'm with you.
So your OnlyFans,
Yeah.
how do you not burn yourself out? Because once again, we have Africa Sexxx here, and there's tons of fans of yours. They all want to see stuff, but you know as well as I know, there's days where it's just like I don't feel doing this. I don't want to do an interview. I don't want to talk to people. I just want to just lie in bed, have some food, watch some TV, and just chill out. So how do you balance it so that you have those days where you shoot content, but you're not shooting too much? You're not all of a sudden going, I really hate this. I want to leave the business. I'm tired of hustling.
I really feel bad because mainly it wasn't that. It was like the acceptance and me feeling different than I was, and I am different than I was, but I feel really different, and them accepting me as feeling different. And so I have had to battle with anxiety and depression, and it seems like I just want to be out of it, or something like that, but really it's just like everything. And so now it's like, I just, it's not really so much that as it is, well, will they like it? Will they like it? Is what
Hmm.
I'm, because I know it's not all hardcore, and I know that I have some people that are asking me about things that I don't feel like doing, because I feel more comfortable if there's a guy there. If there's a guy and he's doing all that penetration and doing all that stuff, I feel more comfortable that way. If I'm doing it myself and there's nobody
You're an
there,
exhibitionist, it sounds like.
huh?
It sounds like you're an exhibitionist.
Yeah,
You,
I am.
yeah, it turns you on to get watched. I fucks with that. We got to put on a great show. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And I didn't mean to take you up too much. When you talked about anxiety and depression, I want to definitely connect you to not one but two organizations specifically for sex workers who deal with
Oh,
our mental health. I've been in one, and there's one that specifically deals with sex workers who look like us. I can't wait to connect you to a woman named Jet Set Jasmine and Zep Wellness and Pineapple Support, but we'll get into that. But there's resources nowadays for people like us.
oh, okay. That sounds fun, sir. Sounds
I
awesome.
I wanted to ask you this though, Miss Africa Sex. So, there's a few things I wanted to ask. First, one, did you ever have a period in your adult industry tenure? Because one thing that comes up a lot is the relationships that we have. Did you get
Yeah.
into any type of committed or romantic relationship? Did you ever have a romantic relationship with one of your co-stars or somebody in the adult industry? Or would you?
Um, I would have with Lexington still. I would have with Lexington. We
Did he
didn't
shoot his
do that.
shot or did you shoot his shot?
He he did shoot his shot, but he shot his shot down. But he did. But I mean,
Lexington still shot his shot. Oh, damn. Lexington still the guard? There's nobody bigger than him. We're good.
shot it out of the tree all by himself. He just shot his shot right there.
Mhm.
But him, yes, I don't know why. Well, it was really intense, and I was really scared at certain parts because he growled in the middle of it. I don't know if he normally does that, but he growled. It scared the crap out of me, and I was just after that day, I was just like, yeah, if he asks me, I'm gonna say yes. I'm totally gonna say yes. Because usually I get asked and I'm like, no, thank you, no, thank you. But I was like, he took me to the movies, and I was like,
Wow. The
sure.
gentleman. I love that. Also, I wanted to ask, during your tenure, are there any scenes that you look back on and like, oh, this was trash, I regret? Or was there any time where you feel like this was, whether the scene you're not proud of, or did you ever have a bad experience on set?
Yeah, I feel like that's still happening now, not with me, but I feel like I get told things. But when you go on the set and there's these people that are not very professional, although they think they're professional since they're in the business, they think they can like grope you, maybe F you off the stage and everything,
Mm.
or maybe, and I'm always telling people that's not what they're paying you for. So you only do what you came there to do. Whatever scenes you were supposed to do off the set and even on the set when they're not recording, that's not what they're paying you to do. That's not, you don't have to do that stuff. But they're trying to rub on you and trying to, do things
Mm.
because they're like, this industry, I can just do whatever. And it's like, yeah, but I'm human, I have feelings. So you got to make sure I'm okay with it.
Consent. Yeah, we
Consent.
have like nights. Yes, like one of the things that we do up in here in this sex club is people who are new to the lifestyle, this open sexual environment. We talk to them about consent. We even have a place where we deal with how they would deal with rejection, which is something that needs to be less taboo. Chris, I didn't mean to
That's
cut
awesome. That's so awesome. Okay, go ahead. The
you.
whole rejection thing, go with that. That's awesome. Okay. I don't know.
Chris, you with me?
Chris?
I'm with you. So before we let you go, Africa, I got to ask you. So what's on the agenda for you going forward? Like, what are some of the things that are on your bucket list for, let's say, the rest of this year going into 2024?
Working with more companies is and growing my OnlyFans. So I don't know. Getting out, getting to okay position. Staying out of the D word and it's perfect. Staying out of that, staying out of and just growing my business or growing my phone. That's about it.
Yeah, one commitment of on the show. People who are collaborating, which I mean adult performers who are not specifically solo performers. I like to ask and close out with if you can think of three things that somebody should keep in mind for everybody who's watching, who are also adult performers, producers, videographers, whatever, who would like to work with you, if you can think of 3 things they need to keep in mind when reaching out to Africa Sexxx.
That we're working, because I find that a lot of people want to do extra, like have a relationship or something. I'm like, we're working, and I do want to just work and do that. And also, consent.
Then,
Make sure also, just because the camera isn't running doesn't mean I want you to be pounding on me to, like if you're changing
exactly.
batteries or charging up and everything. And a third thing, I just want to be respectful for it. So just because I'm in this business doesn't mean I like to be called cheesy and get maxed all up and stuff like that. Just
Mhm.
respect. Respect. That's about it. Those 3
Before we
things.
go, you got anything coming up? Anything? Before we sign off? Anything coming up you want to promote?
I'm supposed to be doing something with the Naked News. So I was, yeah, I don't know. I did something with the Naked News, but I don't know how it's gonna go from here. And I'm also supposed to be working with
I
Brazzers.
hope so. They need some more Black women on that platform.
Yeah, they do. Wait, which one are we talking? Brazzers or
The Naked News? Yeah, I know
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, they do. I'll let them know that you said.
Yes, and I don't back down. I'm Omari the Rebel. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I had such a great time. I want to thank you personally for your contribution to the industry, and it was such a pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure talking to you too.
Yes, I'm gonna reach out to
Yay.
you. So,
Yes, please do, and thank you.
Africa Sexxx, ladies and gentlemen, once again, always not a pleasure. Have you on the show. We come back. We got a lot more going on here. Only on It's After Hours, only on Full Swap Radio.